Section 26 of Library of the World's Best Literature, Ancient and Modern, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jean Bascom. Library of the World's Best Literature, Ancient and Modern, Volume 2, Section 26, Selected Poems from Arabic Literature. Description of a Mountain Storm. From the most celebrated of the Mu'allaqat, that of Emir al-Qais, the Wandering King. Translation of CJ Lyle. O friend, see the lightning there? It flickered and now is gone, as though flashed a pair of hands in the pillar of crowned cloud. Now, was it its blaze, or the lamps of a hermit that dwells alone, and pours o'er the twisted wicks the oil from his slender cruse? We sat there, my fellows and I, twixt Darij and Al-Adhaib, and gazed as the distance gloomed, and waited its oncoming. The right of its mighty rain advanced over Katan's ridge. The left of its trailing skirt swept Kadbul and Az-Sitar. Then over Kutaifa's steep the flood of its onset drave, and headlong before its storm the tall trees were borne to ground, and the drift of its waters passed o'er the crags of Al-Kanan, and drave forth the white-legged deer from the refuge they sought therein. And Tema, it left not there the stem of a palm aloft, nor ever a tower save ours, firm built on the living rock. And when first its misty shroud bore down upon Mount Thabir, he stood like an ancient man in a gray-streaked mantle wrapped. The clouds cast their burdens down on the broad plain of Al-Gabit, as a trader from Al-Yaman unfolds from the bales his store. And the topmost crest, on the morrow, of Al-Mujamir's cairn, was heaped with the flood-borne wrack, like wool on a distaff wound. From the Mu'allaqat of Zuhair. A lament for the desertion through a war of his former home and the haunts of his tribe. Translation of CJ Lyle. 1. Are they of Afa's tents, these black lines that speak no word in the stony plain of Al-Mutathalim and Al-Daraj? Yea, and the place where his camp stood in Ar-Rakmatan is now like the tracery drawn afresh by the veins of the inner wrist. The wild kine roam there large-eyed, and the deer pass to and fro, and their younglings rise up to suck from the spots where they all lie round. I stood there and gazed, since I saw it last 20 years had flown, and much I pondered thereon. Hard was it to know again, the black stones in order laid in the place where the pot was set, and the trench like a cistern's root with its sides unbroken still. And when I knew it, at last, for his resting place, I cried, Good greeting to thee, O house! Fair peace in the morn to thee! Look forth, O friend! Canst thou see aught of ladies camel-borne, that journey along the upland there, above Jertham well? Their litters are hung with precious stuffs, and their veils thereon cast loosely, their borders rose, as though they were dyed in blood. Sideways they sat, as their beasts clomb the ridge of Az-Suban. In them were the sweetness and grace of one nourished in wealth and ease. Then they went on their way at dawn. They started before sunrise. Straight did they make for the vale of Ar-Ras, as hand for mouth. Dainty and playful their mood to one who should try its worth, and faces fair to an eye skilled to trace out loveliness. And the tassels of scarlet wool, in the spots where they gat them down, glowed red, like to ishriq seeds, fresh fallen, unbroken, bright. And then they reached the wells, where the deep blue water lies. They cast down their staves, and set them to pitch the tents for rest. On their right hand rose Al-Kanan, and the rugged skirts thereof. And in Al-Kanan how many are foes and friends of mine! At eve they left Az-Suban, Then they crossed the ridge again, borne on the fair fashioned litters, all new and builded broad. Certain cantos to the sixth one reproach the author of the treachery and quarrel that led to the war and migration. Then follows a series of maxims as to human life and conduct. 6. Aweary am I of life's toil and travail. He who like me has seen pass of years fourscore, well may he be sick of life. I know what today unfolds, and what before it was yesterday, but blind do I stand before the knowledge tomorrow brings. I have seen the dooms trample men as a blind beast at random treads. Whom they smote, he died; whom they missed, he lived on to strengthless eld. Who gathers not friends by help, in many cases of need is torn by the blind beast's teeth, or trodden beneath its foot. And he who his honor shields by the doing of a kindly deed grows richer. Who shuts not the mouth of reviling, it lights on him. And he who is lord of wealth, and niggardly with his hoard, alone he is left by his kin. Naught have they for him but blame. Who keeps faith, no blame he earns. And that man whose heart is led to goodness unmixed with guile, gains freedom and peace of soul. Who trembles before the dooms, yea, him shall they surely seize, albeit he set a ladder to climb the sky. Who spends on unworthy men his kindness with lavish hand, no praise doth he earn, but blame, and repentance the seed thereof. Who will not yield to the spears, when their feet turn to him in peace, shall yield to the points thereof, and the long flashing blades of steel. Who holds not his foe away from his cistern with sword and spear, it is broken and spoiled. Who uses not roughness, him shall men wrong. Who seeks far away from kin for housing, takes foe for friend. Who honors himself not well, no honor gains he from men. Who makes of his soul a beast of burden to bear men's loads, nor shields it one day from shame, yea, sorrow shall be his lot. Whatso be the shaping of mind that a man is born withal, though he think it lies hid from men, it shall surely one day be known. How many a man seemed goodly to thee while he held his peace, whereof thou didst learn the more or less when he turned to speech. The tongue is a man's one half, the other the heart within. Besides these two, naught is left but a semblance of flesh and blood. If a man be old and a fool, his folly is past all cure. But a young man may yet grow wise, and cast off his foolishness. 7. We asked, and ye gave. We asked again, and ye gave again. But the end of much asking must be that no giving shall follow it. Tarafa ibn al-Abd. A rebuke to a mischief maker. Translation of CJ Lyle. The craft of thy busy tongue has sundered from home and kin the cousins of both thy houses, Amer, Of, and Malik's son. For thou to thy dearest art a wind of the bitter north, that sweeps from the Syrian hills and wrinkles our cheeks and brows. But balmy art thou, and mild to strangers, a gracious breeze that brings from the Gulf shore showers and fills with its rain our streams. And this of a truth I know, no fancy is it of mine. Who holds mean his kith and kin, the meanest of men is he. And surely a foolish tongue, when rules not its idle prate discretion, but shows men where thou dwellest with none to guard. Labid, a lament for the afflictions of his tribe, the Amir, from the Divan. Translation of CJ Lyle. Yea, the righteous shall keep the way of the righteous, and to God turn the steps of all that abideth. And to God ye return too, with him only rest the issues of things, and all that they gather. All that is in the book of knowledge is reckoned, and before him revealed lies all that is hidden. both the days when his gifts of goodness on those whom he exalts are as palms full freighted with sweetness, young, burdened with fruit, their heads bowed with clusters, swelled to bursting, the tallest e'en as the lesser, and the day when avails the sin-spotted only prayer for pardon and grace to lead him to mercy, and the good deed he wrought to witness before him, and the pity of him who is compassion. Yea, a place in his shade, the best to abide in, and a heart still and steadfast, right-weaning, honest. Is there aught good in life? Yea, I have seen it, even I, if the seeing bring aught of profit. Long has life been to me, and this is its burthen. Lone against time abide Tiar, and Yaram Ram, and Kulaf, and Badi the mighty, and Dalfa, yea, and Timar, that towers aloft over Kubah. Footnote 1. The 5 names foregoing are those of mountains. And the stars, marching all night in procession, drooping westwards, as each hies forth to his setting, sure and steadfast their course, the underworld draws them gently downwards, as maidens encircling the pillar, and we know not, when as their lustre is vanished, whether long be the ropes that bind them, or little. Lone is Amir, and naught is left of her goodness in the meadows of Al Araf but her dwellings, ruined shadows of tents and penfolds and shelters, bough from bough rent, and spoiled by wind and by weather. Gone is Amir, her ancients gone, all the wisest. None remain but a folk whose war mares are fillies, yet they slay them in every breach in our rampart. Yea, and they that bestride them, true-hearted helpers, they contemn not their kin when change comes upon them, nor do we scorn the ties of blood and of succor. Now on Amir be peace, and praises, and blessing, wherever be on earth her way, or her halting. End of section 26. Recording by Jean Bascom, Potomac, Maryland.